The anime begins with Katagiri Yuuichi, a high school student, as he rides on his bicycle to the newspaper store. The boss remarks that he's been working extra hard lately, and Yuuichi explains to him that he needs extra money for next month's school trip that is quite expensive. Yuuichi and his friends promise to go together, so it wouldn't be good for him to pull out. In the next scene, we're introduced to his 4 friends: Makoto Shibe, Shiho Sawagari, Tenji Mikasa, and Yutori Kokogori. They are happy that he's been able to come up with money for the trip. The anime is about to take a quick turn, as it is soon revealed that the 2 million yen that had been gathered for the trip has been stolen. Shiho and Shibe were in charge of collecting the money, and it was stored in Shiho's locker. Obviously, no one comes forward to take responsibility for theft in these kinds of situations, so these 2 kids are in a bit of trouble. Shiho and Shibe stop coming to school, and they don't respond to calls or texts from their friends. Yuuichi receives a letter that tells him to come to the school gate at night. By the time he gets there, his friends are all waiting there, and it turns out they've been set up and immediately are all kidnapped. Yuuichi wakes up and finds himself and his friends in a white room. It looks like the kind of room where mutants are placed in to control their powers in TV series. A robot mascot comes into the room they recognize as Manabu, a controversial character from an old anime. Manabu reveals that they owe a debt of 20 million. It turns out that one of them stole the money for the trip and used it to register for this game. Manabu tells them the rules, and as the game starts, the 20 million debt is divided equally between all 5 of them. Playing as a team, they are failing easy questions, and soon Yuuichi realizes that someone among them is sabotaging them. He tries to solve the issue, but fails. So when it gets to the last question and they're about to be eliminated, he breaks the rule by talking before they choose an answer, an offense that assures that your debt is doubled. Yuuichi continues to speak, stating that there's a traitor among them and that the person wants to dump all the debt on Yutori. However, him now possessing double of his previous debt ensures that he has foiled the plan. He ends the speech stating that he's joking and he trusts all of them. He just wanted to change the mood. If I was in an intense game like this, I wouldn't appreciate my friend making jokes like this though. Anyway, Yuuichi has subtly sent a threat to whoever the traitor might be. He also deceives the traitor, putting the person in a tight situation. That makes all 5 of them have to choose the same answer in the next question. They get it correct and are promoted to the second game. As everyone leaves the room to head to the venue of the second game, Yuuichi stays behind to find clues of the traitor, but he gets nothing. The second game is titled Badmouth Sugoroko, and it's about to begin. In this game, you are to spill your friend's secret, badmouth them, and when it's read out from the cards, the audience will choose the worst one, and the person has to move more and more steps to the finish line. The first person to get to the finish line will suffer a massive loss. The group of friends decide to submit blank cards and move an equal number of steps, but they're all surprised when they see that their debt increases and panic sets in. Soon someone writes on a card and exposes Shiho's relationship with Yuuichi and Tenji. This nearly leads to a fight between Shibe and Tenji. The next round comes and more dirty secrets are spilled, building resentment and lack of trust among friends. The next exposé on the card states that Yutori engaged in compensated dating, offering her body to older men. This causes her to break down in tears, blaming Shiho, as only Shiho knew about this. The team looks totally divided now, with Yutori sticking to Yuuichi, while Shiho and Tenji are together with Shibe on his own. Soon it was revealed that Tenji is the traitor, and he's been secretly monitoring their lives. What would make a supposed friend turn against his people in this way? Tenji is happy as he feels he's destroyed Yutori's feelings from Shiho. Now to achieve his goal and break all Shiho's friendships, isolating her and making her vulnerable, he has to continue what he's doing and try to destroy Shiho's feelings for Yutori too. Tenji decides to write a bad mouth about himself next to reduce suspicion. He writes that he's lying about his age. The relationship between Shiho and Yuuichi and Shiho and Yutori gets strained further in this episode. As they all move spaces, Shiho steps on a space that allows her to nominate someone. The game will make their investigations and reveal a bad mouth for the person. Shibe, trying to win her back, tells her to nominate him, and soon it is revealed that his father is a corrupt man that has taken bribes and has sexually abused people. During the next round, the next big reveal from the bad mouth cards is that Shibe has killed someone. He cries and begs his friends to believe him that he's never done something like that. Tenji sees Yuuichi smiling and realizes that Yuuichi wrote it. Shibe is told to prove that it is a lie, but he has no way to disprove such an accusation. Yuuichi starts to address the group, and for the second time he tells them that there's a traitor in their midst. trying to break their friendship, and the traitor has written all of the nasty bad mouths so far. He brings a new strategy where they work together and only write bad mouths about themselves except the person on top, so it'll be easy to identify the traitor. Tenji refuses and tells Yuichi to name the traitor so they can all focus on the traitor, something Yuichi refuses to do. Manabu brings the result of the next round, and instead of 4 bad mouths, there are 10. The traitor utilized the rule that says you can write more than 1 bad mouth, and with this, has successfully beat Yuichi's strategy. Tenji then asks Yuichi to name the traitor now that his strategy has failed, but Yuichi claims to not know the traitor, and this further deepens the crack in the team's friendship. I have to say at this point, Tenji's already acting suspicious, and if I was in the game, I'd be wary of him. With Shiho now in the final space, Tenji has almost gotten his revenge, as she is sure to reach the goal first before the others. Yuichi proposes another idea. They all write the same thing, that they are the one that applied to play the Tomodachi game. The idea here is that there's a penalty if you're caught lying, so everyone except the person that actually applied to the game will get to the next stage of the game for lying. When Manabu brings the result, only 1 bad mouth was written instead of 5. Tenji realizes that he's been exposed and starts to shade fake tears, but Yuichi doesn't buy it. Yuichi begins to explain to Tenji how he had been communicating with Shiho through the bad mouth cards. He and Shiho have been a team from the beginning, unknown to Tenji, who was solely focused on his revenge. Yuichi had also told Yutori that Shiho was on their side. However, she had to keep pretending to fight with her to ensure that Tenji was oblivious to the plan. To ensure that other members of the team could be trusted and will comply with his strategy, Yuichi also made them give him their name tags. Even though the traitor has been found, Shiho will still lose the game and advance to the next stage alone. So Yuichi tells Manabu that he had told a lie during the game, and the punishment puts him 1 step ahead of Shiho, meaning that he advances to the next round. He reveals that he has actually killed people, making his friends try to distance themselves from him, but Tenji declares that he loves Yuichi and kisses him on the lips. Oh, so cute, right? Are we gonna see a boy love story in this psychological thriller? Together they fall from the cliff and down to the venue of the next game. The next episode opens with a young Yuichi counting money, and his mother tells him that friends are more important than money. Yuichi and Tenji wake up in a confined cave with just a bottle of water, and they have to survive here for 3 days. Tenji explains his reason for betraying them. Back in junior school, him and 2 of his friends had saved some money. When Shiho joined their school, his friends also liked Shiho, and they decided to divide the money among themselves and invest separately. Whoever makes the most profit gets to be the CEO of their future company, and will propose to Shiho. They get kidnapped and forced to play the Tomodachi game, where Tenji loses and gets punished with 20 million in debt. He later finds out that his friend spent all his money on Shiho. He spoke about the Tomodachi game to his dad, which later led to his dad's death. He also tells Yuichi that Shiho lied about her debt, and he proves this. Together, they decide to destroy the Tomodachi game management. In this scene, Tenji ends all our boy love theories, as he claims he only kissed Yuichi because he wanted to get an opportunity to explain why he betrayed them. With the 3 days over, they head into a forest, where they're greeted by Manabu. This game is a hide-and-seek game, and the 2 of them are up against Group K, which still has 5 members. Their higher numbers give them an advantage in this game. A girl called Maria is added to Tenji and Yuichi's team. Tenji is the hider for the team, while Juzo is the hider from Group K. Tenji feels a bit dizzy as they haven't eaten for 3 days. They begin to look for a place for Tenji to hide, and they finally choose a small cave. Yuichi tells Tenji not to give up, and Tenji decides to trust him completely for this game. Yuichi is unable to bring food for Tenji for 2 days, as Group K members are watching him and will follow him to the cave if he makes a move. A hungry and thirsty Tenji receives a call from Yuichi's phone, but it's from a member of Group K telling him that Yuichi plans to abandon him. This messes with Tenji's head, but he chooses to trust Yuichi. Group K is a team that solely relies on their genius leader, who decides everything for them. They are not just friends, but members of the same basketball team. On the 3rd day, Tenji, without food for 6 days now, begins to hallucinate, and we see Yuichi tell Group K that he wants to join their team. K tells his other teammates that they have to call the captain and allow him to decide. Yuichi begins to tease them that they're kids who can't take simple directions on their own, causing the erratic Hyakutaru to almost punch him. Violence against the other team will result in an immediate loss. To be honest, this part was quite dumb. It was very obvious that Yuichi was trying to rile them up, and no one should have fallen for it. Kei comes back and says the captain has refused to allow Yuichi to join their team. However, he will accept him into the team if Maria also switches teams, to which Yuichi rejects. A slip-up from Hyakutaro ensures that Yuichi and Maria are on the run with the food. They're chased by Hyakutaro and Chisuto, but Yuichi sacrifices Maria, pushing her over the cliff, forcing the two Group K members to try to save her while he escaped with food, to an almost unconscious Tenji. He thanks Tenji for not pressing the surrender button, and now they can play the game for longer. Maria pretends to show Hyakutaro some affection for saving her, and they get close a bit. Yuichi begins to bully her roughly, causing Hyakutaro to tell Maria to switch to Group K, so he can protect her. Kei stops him from making the decision and decides to call the captain first, but Yuichi mocks him that he can't save a little girl without the captain's approval. Kei and Hyakutaro decide to go to the hideout to ask the captain directly, and when they get back, the captain doesn't approve the request. Nevertheless, he allows Hyakutaro to join Group C. With Hyakutaro now in Group C, he tries to punch Yuichi, who quickly pins him to the floor and later ties him up against the tree. Yuichi tries to use Maria to get the hideout location from Hyakutaro, but it is then revealed that he doesn't actually know where Juzo is hiding. And we also later see that Kei is the genius of Group K and the one who calls the shots. Later on, Kei reveals to Maria that he knows that she is from the management. He also convinces her to betray Yuichi. She calls Yuichi and gets the hideout location from him, but when Yuichi sees her with Kei, he realizes that he's been betrayed, and he falls on his knees, screaming in anger. Kei finds Tenji, who's surprised about how they lost, and Manabu brings the game to a close. With everyone now gathered, Manabu tells them that Group C has won the game, much to the surprise and annoyance of Group K. At this point, I'm like, what the hell's happening here? Because I'm not seeing any twist yet. It is then explained that Juzo pushed the surrender button, and thus Group K lost. What happened is that immediately the team left to search for Tenji. Yuichi called Juzo and told him to press the button or he will torture Hyakutaro, who he had previously tied to a tree. Juzo is reluctant, but when Yuichi begins to rain punches on his captive, Juzo begins to waver. With Juzo still refusing to answer, Yuichi tells him that he knows that they are basketballers and he will break Hyakutaro's fingers, which will be detrimental to his basketball career. After hearing the snap of a finger, Juzo begins to cry and Yuichi berates him for bringing this upon his teammates, and he is the one owing the debt. This makes Juzo press the button, ensuring Group C gets the victory. Now in the present, after the game has come to an end, Juzo attacks Yuichi, punching him severely for breaking Hyakutaro's finger, but it's revealed that Yuichi broke his own finger to win the game. Tenji and Yuichi are released for a period of time before the fourth game will start. They get to school and see that their friends have been getting bullied and Shiho and Shibei have suddenly disappeared. They get to Shibei's house and find out that Shibei's father has been murdered while the police take out Shibei with blood on his shirt. Yuichi realizes that Shibei told his father about the Tomodachi game so as to get the 2 million and pay back the class. In the next scene, Yuichi ends his friendship with Yutori, telling her that she is a burden and a stranger to him. It's clear that he's doing this to save her though. Tenji then receives a call from Manabu. They're shown a captured Yutori. Yuichi is told to come alone or bad things will happen to Yutori. As Yuichi gets to the location, he sees a lot of thugs, and the leader named Kuroki wears a Manabu mask. With the game about to begin, the first game will involve punches from the biggest member of the gang. Either Yutori gets punched once or Yuichi takes 3 punches. Yuichi decides to sacrifice himself and take the 3 punches. The second game is for either Yutori to get 1 fingernail pulled out or Yuichi gets 3 fingernails pulled out. Yutori decides to bear this one, but when the pain becomes too much, she calls out for Yuichi's help, and he decides to do it, getting 3 fingernails plucked out, and there's a lot of blood and pain in the process. The last test is about to start. If Yutori chooses herself, then she'll have to dance naked for the gang members, but if it's Yuichi, then Kuroki will stab his hand thrice with a knife. Yutori is not able to decide, so Yuichi gets his hand stabbed 3 times. Kuroki is excited as the boy screams out in pain. With the game now ended, Yutori bandages Yuichi's hand and he tells her to leave because he has unfinished business with Kuroki, but she refuses to go. Yuichi manipulates Kuroki into playing a game of where he either gets 10 million or he gets his fingers cut off. Yuuichi wins the game, but Kuroki rejects his win. Kuroki commands his thugs to attack Yuuichi, but the real management of the Tomodachi game arrives with Tenji, and it's revealed that Kuroki and his thugs are impersonators. Yuuichi collapses from his loss of blood. Shibei is now in more debt after his father's death, and in the end we see Tenji and Yutori enter the courtroom with Manabu as the judge, as the fourth game is about to begin. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.